Well, as you can see, we have beautiful set of enchiladas here. You can do this with pork or beef. Absolutely gorgeous, flawless tasting. I've got it topped with a beautiful red sauce that is made from real chilies. No other products but chilies are in that. Also some cilantro and some queso fresco on top of this. Wonderful dish, pairs wonderfully with this white Zinfandel. I recommend that you give these a try. You're going to be blown away. Excellent dish. Hello, welcome back to Texas Cooking Today. On this episode of Texas Cooking Today, we have something real special, some enchiladas. Now, I'm going to show you how to make enchiladas, the typical enchilada that you've normally seen, with the red sauce on top, the red chili sauce. Most of the videos I have seen on YouTube that deal with doing a red chili sauce have something to do with opening a can of tomato sauce and pouring a bunch of chili powder in it. Okay, let's start out with, ew, that's gross. So let me show you the right way to make an enchilada sauce. And also, I want to show you that the meat that we've already cooked up for this, and I want to tell you how that was done so that you can get yours taken care of, that you can make some really, really good Mexican food. Okay, and that's what I'm doing. It's just sort of a short series on several popular Mexican food dishes, and this is part of that. So I'll tell you what. Come a little bit closer, let's take a look at our ingredients, and let me show you what we're going to do to make a great sauce. Okay, now some of our ingredients that we have here. First of all, we have this chili, which is the basis or the center of a good quality enchilada sauce. This chili is a bright red chili. It's referred to as the guajillo chili, and that is spelled G-U-A-J-I-L-L-O. It is pronounced guajillo. And these you will find commonly in any Hispanic market. You should be able to find them in most supermarkets. They just come in large cellophane bags as dried chilies, and they should be soft and flexible like this. It's very leathery, and this has a very sweet, delicate flavor to it. It is a very, very, very good chili for making sauces with, and it is very mild. I have heard other people say, and I agree with this, that this chili is sinful, okay? And the flavors truly are. If you want to heat this sauce up, you can use some of these little red guys here. These are arbol, okay? And that's A-R-B-O-L. And arbol chilies are extremely hot. Now on this, I'm not going to use them. I don't want my enchilada sauce to be hot. I want it to be a chili flavor that's somewhat mild, and these are going to just pump it up too much. I use these in a lot of chili sauces though. Now also, for our sauce, we have this guy here, which is very aromatic. His skin is a little more tough, still leathery though, and this one's called a chipotle, and this is what they do with jalapenos, is they smoke them, and they either jar them up or dry them, and you have a chipotle pepper that way. The flavor of these when they've been dried is wonderful. They make a smoky flavor to your sauce. The best way to introduce a smoky flavor to a chili sauce is through a chipotle. Also, I want to put a little garlic in this, some red onion. I've got back here some lime juice, and now wonderful sauce that we're going to make from that. And this is not a Mexican ingredient for sauces, but I find it really brings out a lot of character with this particular chili. I'm going to put a little bit of this wine, this is a white Zinfandel, right down in this chili sauce as I'm boiling it off at the end, and that is going to give a fruitiness to the whole sauce, combined especially with the lime juice there. It provides a magnificent fruity and kind of sweet flavor to the whole dish. Of course, you're going to need some corn tortillas, and that's corn, the small ones, just like this, not a big flour tortilla. Enchiladas are not made with flour tortillas. And also, we're going to need some sort of our protein. Now here, I told you that I cooked this up yesterday, prepared this a day in advance. So what I have here is a large pork roast, and on top I have, around the edge of that roast, all of the lard that has solidified, has gathered, because I chilled this overnight, and that way I can get the lard off of the top easy, and if I want to use that lard in other dishes like tamales, I can do so. You can do this with a beef roast, whatever you want. And all I did here, this is very simple. I took my roast, I placed it in the pan with the fat side up. Put 3 quarts of water in this. I put a couple of tablespoons of salt over the top of it, covered it, and I braised it. And I braised it. This one took about 4.5 hours of braising, and it's about a 10-pound roast. Very simple to do, to braise. You just put the water in the pan, you cover it, you put it in the oven at between 250 and 300 and let it cook all day. Ignore it. And it will slowly turn extremely soft, especially if you get a real fatty roast. And a fatty roast works best both for enchiladas as well as tamales. Now I got this to make both with. And I thought, well, since I'm going to be making this kind of a meal, I need to show everyone exactly how to make a good quality enchilada, because that's what I'm about to pull off here. Before we get started on our chilies, let's take a quick look down here at this meat. Now, if you do not want to have to bother with preparing a large cut of meat like this, I understand, that makes sense. If you're just wanting to do some simple enchiladas and you didn't want to go, you know, like raising the Titanic or anything like that, then you can always use like a ground meat. You'll use a good quality like ground beef or something like that. If you're wondering if I keep stuff like this, you bet. This right here is one of the prime ingredients in tamale masa. It's lard, and it's an important ingredient. It makes the masa come out right. Without it, the masa won't be right. There you go. Now, let's move over to work on these chilies here. On these, I have here some hot water. You don't necessarily need boiling hot water. You need some water that is as hot as your hands can stand, or a little hotter. I'm going to make a lengthwise cut in the chili, and the idea is to get water deep into the chili. Chipotles will also make the sauce a little darker. They have a dark brown color on the inside of the skin, on the inner pulp, and that does have a tendency to darken your chili. Your chili sauce. Alright, well, there we have our chilies. We've got them soaking. These are going to need about 1.5 to 2 hours in this hot water, and I'd recommend turning them a couple of times as you do that. And as that happens, you're going to notice they're going to puff up and they're going to get soft. They won't be thin and flat like this, and they will take on a beautiful aroma. In fact, if you're doing this, you're doing a cook along with me, then you're smelling these things already, and you're kind of getting blown away by their wonderful smell. Okay, well, that's our first step. We just got to give this some time, and while I'm giving this time, we're going to be busy processing our meat, okay? Now, when we are dealing with something that's been cooked up and tender like this, and of course you've heard the term pulled pork, one of the common ways that that's achieved is somebody will take a pair of forks like this and just dig into a roast and start clawing at it, just like so. And what this does is it pulls those meat fibers apart and allows you to get a pulled, stringy effect, basically. So that's what we're achieving right there. And this is really neat, okay? And it's a wonderful effect, and allows you to get a good meat texture going in whatever dish you're doing, because it leaves a lot of that meat string intact, okay? However, I want meat strings about this long, not quite as long as what I had made on some of these. And I don't really want them to be any longer than this, and I want a lot of them to be a lot shorter, you know, more in that kind of range. So that's what I'm looking for both my tamales and for enchiladas. And it doesn't matter, again, if this is beef or if it's pork, it pretty much all works out the same, okay? So just go at it. Now, the other way of doing this is to simply take a piece of the meat, break it off, and just break it apart with your hands, just like so. You can shred it with your fingers, a little pulling, and you're done. Boom. So we have a good shredded meat product there. And that's usually the way I go at it. I just start grabbing meat and start tearing at it. And when I'm done, I have a nice product. Now, I would like to say thank you for watching Texas Cooking today. And also, if you're interested not so much in making this kind of tamale, this kind of enchilada, forgive me, but you're looking for maybe like a chicken enchilada or something like that, well, that's real easy because I've got another show right on Texas Cooking Today, exactly how to make those chicken enchiladas. And I do it with a combination. You get your choice of doing a verde sauce or a sour cream sauce. And either way, they come out just magnificent. However, the preparation methods overall are not a lot different one from the other. Well, we now have our meat all shredded, and something I do want to mention, if you will notice that the cutting board that we were using a moment ago when shredding this meat was a brown colored cutting board, and this is real important if you're using a color coded cutting board system or any kind of a coated cutting board system. The brown boards are strictly for cooked meats. Doesn't matter what kind of cooked meat it is, seafood, pork, beef, chicken, anything, it all goes on the brown board if it's cooked. Never put a cooked meat on a red, yellow, or blue board because those are for raw meats only, okay? So, I have my chilies here. They're getting hydrated nicely. I want to rotate them. See how they're starting to puff up a bit? And their color has really come out on them. Beautiful red color. And that color translates to the sauce too, because that's what's going on the inside there, you see? That pulp is getting soft again, and it's red. There we are. Beautiful color. Okay. More soaking. Those are going to make a really good sauce. The next thing I need to do is to get an onion cut up to caramelize to make this sauce with, because I want to be using the caramelized onion and the chilies to make a really good tasting sauce. Also, we got to get that garlic out and ready. It's time for us to go ahead and cut up our onion to get it ready for our chili sauce. Now, I've got a pan right over to the side here that I'm going to be putting this in. Something that you need to know about onions when you're cutting them before we go and dive into this. Here's the root end. This is the end the stalk comes out of. On the root end, if you slice into this, cutting crosswise, suddenly a whole bunch of milk is going to come out. This onion is going to start doing what they call weeping, or just basically putting out juice is all that means. And if that happens, then that sulfuric fume hits the air and suddenly your eyes are burning, okay? Do yourself a favor and do not cut that root end off, alright? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this end off. I'm going to make a single cross cut. And I do that because I now have a stable product that's going to hold itself steady rather than roll around, alright? Nice and stable. Those pieces I'm going to put in olive oil, and I'm just going to slow fry them over a medium heat, and I want to do that until they become translucent with brown edges. This is what they refer to as caramelizing an onion, and we're going to lightly caramelize it, which is translucent with brown edges. If we're going to fully caramelize it, it would be brown all over. The garlic, that's going to go into the final processing with the chili, so I don't have to mess with it right at the moment. Now, if you'll notice, we were doing this on a green cutting board. Remember our food safety. If you're going to be using different cutting boards to prevent cross-contamination from one food product to another in your kitchen, your one board that you have for fruits and vegetables, and that's all. And that is your green board if you're using the color-coded system, okay? Now, I've got those onions over a medium heat, and as I bring them up, I'm going to be drizzling a little oil over them like I'm doing now. And what we're going to do is we're just going to lightly fry these onions. As far as which oil that you can use on this, any cooking oil that you prefer to use. You can use olive oil on this, you can use peanut oil, canola, vegetable oil. We're just looking for something to keep this from sticking. little bit of salt. Okay, I have my onions all nice and pretty, and these are going to make a very good flavor. See how they've wilted well? They've got brown edges all the way. That's going to make it a nice addition in this sauce. A lot of flavor going on right there. A lot of flavor. Well, now we just need to get on to milling the sauce itself. It's time for us to go ahead and make our sauce. Now, something I needed to mention was techniques that are normally used for making a sauce of this type. The old original method that was done in Mexico long ago is they would take the chilies after they have been boiled or soaked, and the garlic, and put it into a, I believe it is called a molcajete. This wonderful little device is like a large mortar and pestle, and it is basically just a bowl that's made of stone. They use lava rock, and then a large piece of stone that they use it to rub on the inside to grind up herbs, spices, chilies, whatever. They make sauces in it. All kinds of things are done in the molcajete. So, and if I mispronounce that and you're Hispanic, well, please forgive me. I think I got it right, but you know, my Spanish is very, very weak. Anyway, that is the old original way. It's not really done much anymore, except in maybe some very, very traditional homes. What people do mostly now is they'll soak these out and then they'll put them in a blender, or in some cases in a food processor, and they'll run it, and then they will place it into a sieve like this, you know, on top of a bowl, and they will then use a spoon or a rubber spatula and try to work it down through the sieve so they can separate the skins and the seeds out from the part that they want to keep. And that method works, it sure does. It involves a little more work, and so the little machine I'm about to show you, and it is inexpensive, is going to save you all of that trouble, because you put everything into a food mill and then you just crank the paddle. It separates the skins and seeds from the pulp, and it does it all just really quick and easy. Now, a food mill is simple. It is a large bowl-like item that has a hole in the bottom of it for you to put different strainers in. These strainers come in different sizes, and the one I'm going to use is going to be the finest one. It's going to be a real good one for making fine, smooth, clear sauces. Okay, and that's exactly what I'm looking for here, something that doesn't have any skins, seeds, or anything like that in. I put my strainer in the bottom, the paddle goes in there, and this is just an angled piece of metal that when it is turned at an angle, or turned inside of this bowl rather, food catches under one side of it and is forced down by the other side of it, because one side's just slightly higher than the other. So it works really well. And this is, like I said, cheap. These things you can buy for, I've seen them as low as $26, and for as much as, for the professional models, which this is one of, these things go up to about $200. But the only difference between a home model and a professional model is the outer size of the rim. It's just bigger. They work the same. They're really identical machines. The home models sell on average from about $26 up to $100. And that's a pretty fancy one for $100 too. Now, the garlic, all I'm going to do is just cut some slivers on this. I'm going to drop it down in there. And you don't have to be any too neat about this. All I'm doing is just cutting it down a little so that the food mill will do its job a little more efficiently. The next thing, I want to take my onion, and we're going to put the onion right down into this. I want to get the oil, salt, everything that I had in there. Alright. That oil has a lot of flavor in it, and it's going to work in very well in this dish. Now you want to keep the spatula around, okay, because you're going to be using it. On your chilies, simply take those. Remember we split them earlier? Pull the chili apart. At the top up here, you can pull that crown out, and the seeds usually come out with it, just like so. If there are extra seeds and you don't want them in your food processor or blender, you can just wash them just like that. I like to take these and tear them a couple of times just to break them down, make them easier to work, regardless of the machine you use, any of the three. Now on the food mill, you don't have to worry so much about getting the seeds out of this. You can just take it, seeds and all, dump it right in there, because that's what the food mill does. It, while it is extracting the pulp, it's separating that skin and seeds from the pulp. Now the skins are looking that much more dry. They're really getting kind of loose and flaky down in there. And that's a really good sign. That's one of the things I was looking for. Because that right there is working them out pretty much as good as you can do. And look at how much more is on the bottom of this. Easily a half a cup more. Okay, just from that extra turning. So, there we have it. Simple food meal. I don't like everything that the French came up with, but sometimes they come up with some good ideas, and this is one of them. And there we have it. Got close to 2 cups of good, yummy, plain red chili paste in the bottom of this. And this chili paste, that's what we're going to be making our wonderful sauce with. We got the garlic already in it. The onion sweetness is already in it. All I have to do now is add some liquid to this and get it to simmer just a little bit. So, yummy. There's all of our stems. We'll do a little cleanup, and then we're going to get on to simmering this beautiful sauce. We have our chili paste in a pot, ready to cook up. And I've just taken a couple of minutes to go ahead and do a little cleanup in here. But what I have here is a paste that has the consistency of about a tomato paste, and about so thick. And what I want to do is to thin this into more of a sauce consistency. I can do that, of course, with some water. I can do that with pork droppings that I have, and that would be really good because it'll match the meat. I'm going to put in just a little bit of that lime juice, about 2 tablespoons worth, and I'm going to put in some of this wine, and I'm going to pour in, to start with, about 1/3 of a cup. You'll notice the chili paste, they take that moisture in rather quickly, okay? And I've still got a very thick product here. A little of my mess. Now, what I want to do is I want to reach over with my trusty ladle, and I'm going to grab some of that pork broth that I had. Get that a little closer. Go. Put some of that in. After all, if this was a beef product, then I would be using the beef juices the same exact way. I've been simmering for about 5 minutes now. The smell of chilies and garlic is exploding in the air. It's a beautiful smell, and there's a smokiness to it also from that chipotle. Look at this beautiful red colored sauce. It's just bold in its color. It has about the same texture and consistency as your average spaghetti sauce, a tomato sauce. Now we need to go ahead and stir this again. It's been another 5 minutes, and this has been simmering now for a total of 10 minutes. And I want to, at the halfway point, since we're going to be simmering this a minimum of 20 minutes, at the halfway point, I want to taste this, correct any seasonings, add any more moisture that it might need for the remainder of its simmer. It is getting a little bit on the thick side. Now, have a spoon with you. dip the spoon in there and just let it fall off. And we want to see its coverage rate, how well it holds. And it's looking nice. Let me get some of this to taste. That is wonderful. It's delightful. Needs a little bit more salt. Got another half a teaspoon. It's fruity, acidic. Doesn't have much heat to it, you know, as far as a spicy heat. There's a little bit, but just very mild. But it is filled with chili flavor. That's really good. I need to add some hot water to that. So we'll pour a little bit here. Beautiful consistency that I was looking for. And look how much sauce that we have from those chilies. A lot of sauce right there, okay? Again, let it simmer. It's time for us to go ahead and cook up the filling for our enchiladas. Now what I want to do is put some of this beautiful pulled pork right down into this pan. I don't need a lot here. Let's put some oil in the pan here. And I got some heat underneath it. What I'm going to want to do is just give this a little bit of a cook. And as it's coming up and it's heating that meat up nice and starting to cook it, we're going to put some of the chili sauce in there and we're going to cook the two together. Now we need to add our flavor. Now our filler. Cook this for just a moment so we can integrate the two flavors together. We're talking a wonderful, wonderful way to make enchiladas. You're going to make enchiladas with beef or pork. This is the way to go. Alright, I can shut the heat off. I'm going to let it rest for just a moment. And what I need to do now is to simply get out some of those corn tortillas, and I'm going to steam them in the microwave. You can also do it in an oven different ways. Something that you may want to know about when you're getting ready to heat your tortillas, whether they are flour or corn. Take a paper towel, place it in the bottom of the dish you're going to heat them in. Drizzle in just a little few drops of some water and put your tortillas right on in there. I like to stagger them, kind of move them around a little bit so they're easier to pull out. I can grab the edge faster. A little more water on top of that. Now, I can put this in the microwave oven, or I can place it in a regular oven at about 350, 375. Either way, they'll heat fine. And you want to heat them up until they're nice and steaming hot. Now that we have everything prepared, all we have to do is to put our enchiladas together. Now let's cover a myth right now. Myth number one. When you're making an enchilada, you need to put it in a pan and bake it. Okay, that's myth number one. Mexicans do not put enchiladas in the oven and bake them, okay? They're plated and served. So we have a hot meat, have a hot tortilla, And I have a nice steamy hot sauce over there to put over the top of it. And this is important. When you're doing an enchilada like this, if you leave the ends of the tortilla uncovered with sauce, it would be considered something of an insult in Mexico, okay? Because you're trying to coat the whole skin with a nice even coating of the sauce so that it soaks in and flavors it. There we are. Add just a little more down here. And this sauce is strong, it's robust, it's a beautiful flavor to it, gorgeous color. Now something else that we want to do, I like to make my dishes just a little more pretty, something that's going to bring some life out in them. So a little bit of cilantro, just sprinkled across the top. It adds a great deal to the flavor and to the character of the dish. There we go. And I have here what is called queso fresco. And all we need to do is just break off some of this and crumble it a little bit. This is sort of like a really hard mozzarella, some Mexican cheese. We're just going to put a little bit across the top of these. There we go. That lovely, lovely enchiladas. Well, there it is, the enchilada. Very, very good dish, common in both Mexican and Tex-Mex culture. Oh, wonderful stuff. Cut this a couple times here. Let's take a look. Let's look right up inside of this guy here. Look at this. Beautiful, isn't it? Lovely item. Oh my goodness. You know, flavor like this shouldn't be legal. Tell you what, I hope you enjoy yours. I know I'm going to be enjoying mine. Oh. Absolutely. And thank you. Thank you very much for watching Texas Cooking Today. And please join us again. And you have a good day. Goodbye. Thank you for watching Texas Cooking Today, the show where you can get great recipes and the best techniques are taught. Please subscribe to Texas Cooking Today, where you will always find something hot and ready to eat.